Yeah, but honestly, a lot of people that are listening probably don't know your whole back. Oh, yeah, they probably do.
They know
Maybe
my
not my
story, but
background,
I'll
but
give my story again. It's great, great
we'll give a
story.
little summarized version. So they asked us to talk about our background in hockey and surfing, how we kind of do our daily life, like, and then how to find your voice, and then how you
Living your
how
truth,
you stay true to like living your truth,
following your heart.
following your heart. Yeah. And so we started with I talked about my background, then he talked about his, and then we talked about how we joined connections. But for the people that don't know, uh, I grew up in California, Arizona, and then I got drafted at 15, moved to Canada at 15, played at 15 to 20 in Canada, away from home. At the age of 20, turned pro, and then when I turned pro, bounced around throughout the U.S., the rankings, and then at 23, got asked to go play in Russia. Went and lived in Russia with the Russian army. Zdorova.
I didn't know you were with the Russian army.
Russian Red Army, baby.
I didn't even know that.
Lived in a baza.
And
Lived
then,
in a Russian military
and then
base.
you got concussions too. I didn't know
Yeah,
that
so I
part
lived
either.
in a Russian military base for the year, for 8 months. I was actually there for 6 months in Moscow, and then next year went and played in France. This last year, actually, it just ended it like 6 months ago. And while I was in France, like Connor was just saying, I ended up getting 2 concussions in a matter of 10 days. It was
See, I didn't know
actually
that.
heavier than I said it there. I just said I got a concussion, but yeah,
I didn't know
2
that.
concussions in a matter of 10 days, and that was when I started the podcast. In that time, because I was out and I was like sitting there, and I was also going through this whole kind of like spiritual awakening. Not spiritual
The
awakening.
concussions were
like,
probably a final trigger. Like, all right.
oh, there had been so many things. So listen to this. Let me backtrack a little bit. Before I got the concussions, like I had played
Yeah.
in Russia. Russia's the second best league in the world. NHL and then Russia, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I had played like a handful of games in Russia, and then I came back to U.S. like dedicated myself. I was like, yo, I'm gonna make the NHL. I'm gonna do everything that I can. Played in Russia, felt confident, came home, like manifest it like every single day, writing down a whole wall of like how I'm gonna do this year, all that shit. Went to a team beginning of the season. Actually, first didn't sign with anybody. Went in on tryouts. Went to the first team that was like almost should have been a guarantee. Should have been like I made the team. Went there, got cut. Went to a second team, a league down. Was like, yo, I'm gonna rip this league up. It's gonna be okay. I'll get back up there. Went to that team, got cut. Went to the next team, another league down. Went to that team, got cut. And it wasn't because of my performance. It was like I was there, and all 3 of these teams were like, hey, we can't afford you, or hey, we have too many guys. Our roster's too full. You're not underdrafted. And so that happened. And while that happened, I was like the whole time that was happening, like right when I got to the first place, I had this weird feeling inside me that was like, this isn't anymore. I was like, yo, hockey's not it anymore for you, which is like, it was cool. It was good. It was like, this isn't what you want to do anymore. You got more to offer. So then I was like, should I go to France? Do I quit? Do I keep playing? I got the offer to go to France, and I was like, look, I don't have any other jobs to do right now. I might as well just go. It's something to do right now. Keep me going, and then like I can try and figure out what I want to do after. So I went to France, and while I was in France, ended up getting those 2 concussions in 10 days. So that was after there was so many signs that it was like, yo, we're done. Got to 2 concussions, and when I got the second concussion, it was like, done.
And what about those concussions? What's that look like? Like player slams you, you fly into the ice, boom, hit your head, or what was it?
Depends. But yeah.
What were those 2?
The first one was I turned my head. I turned my head a bit, and when I turned back the other way, there was an elbow, so I just ran straight into it, and it was like, whoa, just a little bit blurry, but like no, not too bad. Didn't get knocked unconscious or anything. Went off the ice, just felt like woozy. Took a couple days off. I think I took like a week off, and then came back for the next game. Next game, came back, went to pick a puck up, like went to like grab a puck that was like in the middle of a group of players, so I had to like kind of reach in, and when I reached in and pulled the puck out and stood up, there was a dude there just coming to crush me straight on. Boom, took me out. I stood up. I went over to the bench. I skate over to the bench. I get to the bench, and right when I get to the bench, everything just flashes, and I just collapsed on the bench. I got back up. Didn't go completely unconscious, but like lost my balance, lost all of it, fell, got up, went into the locker room, and literally as I was sitting in the locker room when I got there, I was just like, that was the last game to play. That was it. I'm done. And there was no like remorse. There was no like, fuck this. Like it was just like, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it.
Wow.
And so then I started the podcast over there, going through that. Also had started reading. What led me to Untethered Soul was this book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, which is what I did the first 2 podcasts on by myself, like the Love Yourself Project, because I was going through like, feeling like really down and like feeling upset and like not really feeling confident.
Who wrote that one again?
Fuck, I can't tell you. Some dude with a crazy last name. And so I read that book, and I started to in it. It's like, you know, have the one thought that you come back to, like the anchor thought, be I love myself. So read that book, and then as I was reading the I Love Myself book, someone told me to read Untethered Soul. I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. Started reading Untethered Soul. Literally first chapter, read it, was like, I'm starting this podcast. I need to talk about this. I need to talk to my boys. I need to talk to my friends. And then that was where I started talking to you. And that was where we passed the baton at the
and
talk.
then he passed me the mic. I took the mic. I grabbed it like this. And then I said something along the lines of, hey, everybody, here I am. Happy to be here. Grateful to be alive. There was a brain-eating amoeba. Whole crazy thing. And I'm alive. Today's the 18th day. I might drop dead here on the spot. But backing up, yeah, most people probably heard my story. I was a surfer growing up, rode for Quicksilver from 13 to 19, traveled all over the world, California, mostly contests, but went to Indo, South Africa, all over. It was great. And then I went on a 2-year Mormon mission to Siberia from 19 to 21. And then I came home around 22. I was kind of like, oh, what's what am I doing in life? And I started partying a bit, and then I partied hard for about a year. It was
so funny when you said that.
Pretty serious.
Partied over there in Hollywood.
Hollywood. But yeah, the mission was the greatest thing ever. Siberia, I lived there. The coldest winter ever was like -40.
Me and Condor also share the Russian bond.
No, мы говорим по-русски немножко, так что вот так. И так что после этого, after that, the mission, it was really cool because I had all these signs like, oh, God is real for me here in the Mormon church and this and that. But I also met a lot of Muslims who had some great signs where I'm like, wow, that's a pretty serious sign. Like, that might mean the Quran's true. Instead, I was like, maybe God helps people in all their different walks of life as long as they're good and positive. So I've always been a seeker. I've always been a seeker, always looking, observing and looking and wanting the most meaning out of life and the best things out of life and to be the most happy out of life. And then so naturally, I started partying in Hollywood. What else would you do? No, and then I saw that's fleeting. That's not good. Which I already knew, but I guess I just wanted the experience. So now I don't really, party much. It's definitely not the focal point of my life. Go out every once in a while with the boys. But then I started really going after the career, I guess, writing movie scripts, hustling, working hard, real estate, got into crypto, made a killing with crypto, turned 10 grand into 1.3 million. And so I had all this money. I'm like, I got to move to Puerto Rico to, establish citizenship there, take on Act 22 and cash out, make some money. And then while I'm in Puerto Rico, crypto tanks, and I lost my million. I got I got a bit left, but I lost the whole mill. And then I was in the fetal position, struggling, super depressed. And then JT hits me up. How you doing? What's up, bro? You good? And I'm like, geez, JT is glowing. This guy is on fire right now. What are you doing? He's like, bro, I'm reading this Untethered Soul and just going after new things in life. You got to check this book out. And then I read it, started reading it. He was reading it. And then we ended up here in Venice together, like a block away.
Yeah.
And then you found me for the podcast somehow. You're like, come on, Conrad.
Yeah.
Dial it in.
Exactly. And then how did we? So then you told your background, and then we talked about that, and then we talked about finding your heart, finding your purpose. For me, that's doing meditation and connecting to the best version of you. Even if you don't meditate, just sit down and write on a piece of paper. If you could do everything that not only helps you but helps the rest of the world, and that would be the way that you looked, what would that person look like? What would the best possible version of you, if you could do everything in your wildest dreams, that not ego, not get cars and get money, but if you could do something that's empowering to other people and also empowers you at the same time, what would that look like if you let yourself fly to the highest heights? And so when you get that image and you have that in your mind and you know what that feels like to live in that kind of place as that person, how do you bring that into your normal life? What does that person do for breakfast? What does that person do? How does he treat other people? How does he do how does he go through challenges? How does he treat his girlfriend, his wife, relationships? How do you do all that shit? and then just keep connecting back to that. And that's the way that I've done it. It's like I have that image of like the standard that I want to hold myself to, the quote unquote highest self, like the higher version of me. And I just keep going back to that and being like, is everything that I'm doing right now aligned with that version of me, with like that person that I want to be, that like legend that I want to leave, that legacy that I want to leave behind. Is that what I'm bringing into existence right now in this moment, because I'm choosing to, because everything that you're doing is a choice. And so in doing that, that was when I started doing this kind of shit. Moved to LA, got done with hockey, came here, started doing these workouts, started doing this kind of like social media shit, started to take this podcast seriously, bought all this fucking equipment, bought this thing behind us, turned this room into the little podcast room, and then was like, the one thing that I'm missing is a partner in crime, the Condor. And just like a soaring eagle across the way, I could just see this. I could literally just see this Condor just flying. And I gave him a call. I sent him a message and just said, let's do this shit. Let's rock it. Come try this out with me.
And we did.
Curious.